and welcome to Author's Excerpt Sunday Podcast. My name is Sharice Johnson Moore, and I am your host for today. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Rebeccah Silence, and she is a marvelous author, and she has so many things going on. She has a podcast. She has a book. She has all these marvelous nuances in her life going on right now. And we want to welcome Rebeccah Silence to our broadcast. Hello, Rebeccah, and how are you doing today?
Well, Charisse, I am honored to be here and I am ready for a life-changing conversation about coming back to life.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I know that's right. So, Rebeccah, you want to give us you want to tell us about yourself a little bit, and tell the audience, about you.
Sure. I like to say I am the space where all healing is possible. I define healing as freedom, and my story is a wild one. I believe we all have a wild story, but what I know for sure is that there's no trauma that can't be used to our advantage. And that's what I wrote Coming Back to Life about. I grew up in domestic violence, then devoted my life to understanding human behavior and trauma, had a master's degree in counseling, 4.0 GPA, nationally board certified music therapist, and I found myself in my own domestic violence marriage. And it was only because I was a mom with a 2-year-old, recognizing, wait a minute, if I stay in the situation, then I'm part of the problem. And it wasn't in me yet. I didn't have the worth to get out for me, but because I had a daughter, I realized I basically gave myself no other choice but to get out. But more importantly, I understood that understanding trauma isn't enough to break cycles and to heal it once and for all. And when I'm talking about trauma, I'm talking about heartbreak. It's not necessarily about abuse and violence, even though for many of us, that is part of our story and part of our history. So when I got out of that marriage, a whole new Rebeccah was born. And the name Rebeccah Silence came from my first husband. At the time, I was so committed to silence. I married a man with the last name Silence. But then
Right.
I got out of that marriage with that baby and I reinvented myself and I love who I've become. So I kept the name. And from there, I don't think reinventing ourselves is enough as much as understanding trauma isn't enough to make sure life doesn't keep happening, right? Life happens.
Yes.
So, just straight out the gate, I'm going to be real with you all.
Yes.
I'm also a cancer survivor. I
Mhm.
got married again, started a business. It took off, had a second pregnancy. And during that pregnancy, I was diagnosed with cancer. So, what this book is about is how did I stay emotionally clear and regulated and plugged into God? How did I use trauma to my advantage as the healed me once cancer struck? I wrote a book to show you a roadmap to
Mhm.
heal any pain and break any trauma cycle from an empowered place because I was sick and tired of the trauma conversation being so disempowering.
Yes. I totally understand. I am working currently with a group of women that we deal with all kind of topics, and that is one of our topics that we do really get into. Discussion is domestic violence
Mhm.
relationships, and it is very imperative that the lady that I'm working with, her name is Ardenae Garner, and she has created a safe space for us to sit and talk about our feelings, about how we felt, about we can go in, we could talk in our group, and the group is very open, no judgment zone. So,
Mm.
and I am a survivor of a domestic violence relationship myself. So, sometimes we think it's not possible to walk away because we may not have money, or we don't think might not have a job at the time, or or we just think, oh, if I change him, he'll change. If I do things different, I'll make him happy. And then in the back of your mind, you realize after a while, you be like, no, this is not going to change. This is a this is not going to be conducive for me, and it may hurt to walk away, but it must be done. It must be done. It has to be done for the sake of, if you have children involved and your own life. And I applaud any woman that takes her time to put herself first.
Mm.
And sometimes we can get so bogged down with wanting to be with somebody, wanting to be with them and things of that nature. And you want to make them happy, but they're not happy with themselves. They're not going to be happy with you. So that's what I have realized about being in that type of relationship. And you also have to advocate for yourself. Advocate and tell somebody and make an exit plan. You don't gotta tell it. You don't gotta tell nobody what your exit plan is. Plan it in your head, and and go ahead and do. Make those steps. You might. I always tell women that I run across that are dealing with this. I say, what if you're gonna walk away? You have to walk away when it is that person is not around, or when the person is not in your presence, they have no access to you. They might be going to work, or they might be going out or something. Have your emergency backup bag. Emergency backup bag, and an emergency like a friend he don't know about. That could help you out of that situation. Until you find you a place. You can go to that friend and meet that friend, and and get work on your happiness, because it's very important that we see value in ourselves.
Well, that's so important. And this is much easier said than done.
Yes.
And my heart goes out to anyone having to make the choice,
Mhm.
right? But what I want us to all understand is we always have choice.
Mhm.
We always have choice, and we can't do it alone. And what I believe, Charisse, is that we're a vibrational match for what we know love and relationship and family to be.
Mhm.
How we experienced it growing up
Yeah.
is what we unconsciously recreate.
Mhm.
And until we heal the pattern, we can't break the cycle. And until we make the choice to say, this isn't love.
Yeah.
And
Right.
abuse is never love. And
Right.
it isn't about, whether or not the other person
Mhm.
is happy with themselves as much as it's about, are you willing to have a life you love and to be
Yeah.
someone you're proud of? Because this partner is a spiritual teacher and healer for you to break trauma cycles once and for all for your lineage.
Yes.
And that doesn't necessarily mean they want to break the cycle with you, but
Right.
you can break the cycle.
Yes.
And it's not easy to be the generational healer assigned to your family system. But
Right.
you already know if you're here whether or not that's you. And
Mhm.
you are so much more powerful than anything outside of you. And
Mhm.
you always have a choice, and support is always available, whether it's the local YWCA, whether you call the police, whether you find a local domestic violence shelter. But I
Mhm.
love what you're saying about finding a plan.
Mhm.
And you don't have to tell anybody, but
Yeah.
you do need support, and you do need to make the choice. And there's never a good time to make the choice. And I
Right.
see so often, whether it's domestic violence or another pattern that doesn't serve you anymore, there's never a good time to make the choice. There's never enough money to make the choice, but
Mhm.
it's about you committing to
Mhm.
coming back to life, to
Yes.
fully living your one precious life, and to taking your power back.
Yeah. So true. So true. So can you share with us, can you share with us what was the most challenging aspect of writing the book?
You know, it was incredibly vulnerable to know that me telling my story
Mhm.
would impact people in my family that maybe didn't want anybody to know about our story.
Yeah, right.
That was honestly, I think, the most challenging piece. So I did my best to be really responsible and to own this is my story.
Right,
This is
right.
my reality.
Mm-hmm,
And I, really encourage anyone ready to tell their story and write a
mm-hmm,
book to
hmm.
first start out writing it for you. The
Yeah.
first two versions, I was gutted. I was just nodding and bawling and
Mm-hmm,
oh my gosh, when I say this is my heart on a platter coming back
mm-hmm.
to life for all of you, I
Yeah.
wrote it for me. I got it all out. I didn't know where it was going to go, but it
Mm-hmm.
was really challenging to find a way to be as responsible as I could be without editing myself at the same time
Yes.
so that this book could be birthed
Mm.
and told and a vessel of empowerment for every life it was going to touch.
Right, right. When we write our stories, it is our path to freedom.
Yes.
Our path to freedom, where we put everything in this book, and we get to the point where we're writing, and you be like, because I was like that when I wrote my first book. And I put the title of my book is called Coming to Loving Yourself. And I put everything in the book, everything in the book. I just put everything in the book, and I was worried about, oh, what if such and such read this? Or and what if you know, what if people read the book that's in your family, and then they be like, when then they wanna, oh, you wrote this about me? Why you lie? And then be like, Clay, excuse me, but this is my story. If you offended me, I'm sorry it offends you that I told the truth. Okay,
Yeah.
and my thing is, when I wrote my book, I when you write a book and you write a story about somebody else in it, you got to change their names. So I changed the names in the aspect of my book. So, a couple of people read it, and one of my exes read the book. And he didn't like the story I put about him in the book. So that's why I went and like, yeah. He called me when I was like, man, they ain't trying to hear all that.
Yeah.
This is my story. I freed myself. I walked away. I told it how I saw it from my perspective, and I'm sorry, not sorry. Okay, So
And
um,
healing starts, Charisse, with
mhm,
breaking the silence and
right?
using your voice and
Yes,
telling your story and
yes.
tell it as many times as you need to
Mm-hmm.
until you feel free and liberated. Because
Yep.
there's nothing you've been through that you can't heal.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. 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 So, I wanted to ask you, how do you approach writing for this book? How did you approach your writing? Writing style, or
Hmm.
approach your.
Yeah, I listened to Lil Wayne every time I sat down to write.
Okay.
And I love Lil Wayne, but
Hmm.
that just came to me. Like, you're
Yes.
gonna play some Lil Wayne, you're
Hmm.
gonna connect to your spirit. I have this fun process with myself where
Hmm.
I connect to my mind so I can connect to my heart, so I can connect to my body, so I
Hmm.
can connect to my spirit. And
Hmm.
every time I sat down to write, I listened to Lil Wayne and I
Hmm.
asked God, get Rebeccah out of the way, get
Hmm.
Rebeccah out of the way, and
Right.
give me the words.
Hmm.
And I did. And I got some really beautiful advice early on to
Hmm.
not try to be in creative mode while
Yeah.
I was in editing mode.
Yeah.
So I knew every time I sat down, the
Hmm.
intention was either to just create and free write from
Hmm.
my spirit, let my
Yeah.
spirit write,
Yes.
or now I'm in editing mode. I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to do both at once, which I can't tell you
Hmm.
how freeing that was. It
Right.
just took the pressure off.
Yeah.
And, it took 2 years to
Hmm.
get the book to a point where I started talking to someone in publishing. And then it took another year to get the book to the place where I was ready to write the book proposal. But then after 3 years,
Hmm.
that book proposal, I wrote it on a Sunday.
Hmm.
And that week I had an agent, and 2 weeks later I had a book deal with a major publisher. So I just want people to hear that story, to know that it is okay to give yourself permission to take as much time as you need.
Yes.
And I really saw the book as a baby I was birthing. I
Yeah.
had
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
cancer. I only had a 5% chance to live with my cancer diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So this book was really important to me because I didn't know how long I had. And none of us know how long we have, right? But
Right.
I just knew I wanted it born, but I also knew it was bigger than me and it was going to take as long as it took.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a divine assignment that I was saying yes to.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know how that is. So, are you ready to read an excerpt from your book, darling?
Sure, I absolutely will. Yes. Let me. Okay. I'm going to read the two chapters that I get the most feedback on are my chapter on the body and
Mm-hmm.
my chapter on the forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a passage from the body.
Okay.
Self-sacrifice, not your friend. Your body knows your whole story. Your body is your representative. Your body is your greatest tool and teacher. Your body knows. Your body talks. Your body is your strongest ally and advocate, and it has every answer to every question you've ever had. So please start listening to it. Your body knows what isn't working for you and what is working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to fit into who you think you have to be. That's the wrong direction. And that's a shitty way to live. Every time we give ourselves up to try to keep what we think we should have or be or do, we allow another piece of possibility for our future to fade away.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever loved someone so much that you were willing to lose you to try to keep them?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever given up a part of you, your truth, your self care, your dignity, and sold out for another? If you're sitting at home saying, no way, not me, look again. We've all been there. Let's talk straight now about self sacrifice. Why is it called self sacrifice? Because when you make yourself a sacrificial lamb, you give up you as you make someone else a priority. The result is you undermining yourself and training other people that you think you're a piece of shit. Self sacrifice is not your friend, and your body knows, even if you're in denial, and it will rebel. We do what is most beneficial in every moment. Before you try to tell me that there's no benefit to self sacrifice and you have no idea why you do it, let's get some perspective. Who have you seen modeling sacrificing themselves for another? Let's talk about self sacrifice. Get real and give it up, please. We learned it. We see it. We think it's love. We think it's protection. We think it's going to keep our relationships intact if we try to fit in with the other person or the job or the community or the friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong. What happens when we self sacrifice is we lose the essence of who we are. This means whoever the hell we're trying to relate to is now talking to a robot. No one is home when we give ourselves up. We become fake, going through the motions, alien to ourselves, which means no one can really feel, get, or understand us now. Do you see the collateral damage of refusing to be brave enough to stand in your power? If they can't or won't love you standing in your truth, then politely ask them to get out of your way. The lack of love from them isn't a worthiness issue on your part. It's an alignment issue. Again, what's not aligned needs to fall away. Don't sell out to try to keep it. Please don't sell out. Your kids are watching. Are you someone who learned that you had to try and fit in or to be who you were supposed to be? Were you taught to toe the line or else? These are miserable ways to live. I'm boiling down for you exactly why we are so good at suffering. We won't be ourselves, the version of ourselves that we want to be now, and it pisses our bodies off. And then our body lets us know it's real that you might lose people when you get really real. Do it anyway. Your body will thank you and you will be healthier for it. Attract your people, places, and things. We don't need people in our lives that dumb themselves down and want us dumbing ourselves down. Love them and know it's totally okay to let them go. What if you being alone with you is the best company there is? Full disclosure, peeling the layers off of fake you, off one at a time, isn't exactly pleasurable in moments, but do it anyway, and you will eventually get to experience unmatched pleasure because there is nothing about how you are living anymore that isn't good for you.
Yes. Yes, yes. If you don't get this book, right? If you don't get this book, Coming Back to Life, it is. Um, I really like what I have heard in my spirit with that book,
Mm.
I'll be purchasing one today. Okay. So Miss Rebecca, what would you tell an aspiring author? What advice would you give an aspiring author?
I would tell them you already are an author, and it is okay to identify as that before the book is born. And unless you identify as that, this gives me chills because I didn't think I was an author. Meanwhile, I've been writing every day of my life since I was probably 8 years old.
Right?
So you
Mm-hmm.
have a dream on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
God gave it to you, and
Yeah.
you're already an author, and you are and have everything you need to birth your book,
Mm-hmm.
your story, and let it come through you.
Yes.
Don't think it needs to happen by you.
Right.
Bring spirit to the table. Divine love, divine intelligence coming through you is how this book will be born. But you have to identify as an author and you have to give up sacrificing the truth of who you are, everything I just read to you,
Mm-hmm.
in the name of trying to protect everybody else from your
Right.
truth, and
Mm-hmm.
just tell the freaking truth.
Mm-hmm.
Open up that heart even more, and it's not going to kill you. I love to say that when we let go of survival, it can
Yes.
start to feel like we're dying.
Yeah.
And when you write a book, you have to let go of survival.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not dying. You are just being rebirthed and reborn as the most glorious, fullest expression of you and
Yeah.
of the divine love that you already are. But man, if you have a book, please just start writing. And my final little tidbit nugget here is first draft is for you. Write this for you. So
Mm-hmm.
you know you did. Let it heal you.
Yeah.
This book healed me.
Mm-hmm.
I was already writing it from the healed Rebecca place.
Yes.
But there are so many layers that we get to free ourselves and liberate ourselves and heal through that we don't
Mm-hmm.
even know about until our own words are right in our face,
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can't write a book from your wound and expect
Yeah.
it to serve people. And that first version, you get to see where the wounds still are. And
Yes.
that's not a bad thing. You get to heal them even more so they're super proofed so you can really serve.
Yeah. Yes. 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 So, Miss Rebecca, how does it feel? How did it feel when you first opened the box? When you got your first look at your book? How did that make you feel?
You know, I think the day it came, I actually have a video. My husband took a video of me opening the box
Mm-hmm.
and seeing this box that said Simon and Schuster
Yes.
and my name and coming back to life.
Yeah.
It was wild and it
Mm-hmm.
was breathtakingly beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
I love the book. I have the cover tattooed on my arm. My
Mm-hmm.
chemo scar is right in between the wings. It
Yes.
was a powerful day opening up that book.
Mm-hmm.
But the day that it really hit me
Yeah.
that this book was bigger than me
Mm-hmm.
was the day I signed with my publisher.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That day was unforgettable. And I just
Right.
remember all of the tears of joy and gratitude. Thank you, God.
Mm-hmm.
This story gets to be put out there into the world. And I was so grateful to be a woman with a major publisher backing me, who believed in me and who believed in my story. So the day I signed the contract with my publisher, Health
Mm-hmm.
Communications Incorporated, was
Yes.
a life-changing day I'll never forget.
Okay. All right. So, um, what other advice would you give an author? What is the last piece of advice you would really give an author when it comes to their careers?
Yeah, I think you can't worry about whether or not you're controversial or people are going to like it, because it isn't about getting everybody to like it and agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
It is about shaking things up
Mm-hmm.
and reaching the right people. So the more you write from that place of your heart is wide open, the
Yeah.
more your spirit and source are
Mm-hmm.
coming through you as you write, the more you are the lighthouse and your book is the lighthouse that
Mm-hmm.
the right people will find because they're meant to get your words
Yeah.
as medicine in their lives. So, my book, it's pretty controversial because I'm teaching people how to use trauma to their advantage. And I'm telling you, healing is possible and it can happen just like that. The
Mm-hmm.
pain starts in a moment, it can end in a moment. That's controversial. Everybody
Yeah.
wants you to think you can manage and cope, but you can't
Yeah.
really heal. Or it has to take a long time, right?
Yeah.
So let it be controversial. Let the haters hate. Let
Mm-hmm.
the critics have their opinion, but
Mm-hmm.
you back you
Mm-hmm.
and you back every word in that book, and
Yeah.
you know it's going to reach and serve the right audience. And
Mm-hmm.
from there, just let it be enough.
I know. I know. I know. I know that's right. So, Miss Rebecca, do you have any upcoming events that you would like to share with us?
Well, first of all, this interview is coming at the perfect time because the birthday of Coming Back to Life was yesterday. Coming Back to Life is 2. So let's just celebrate the birthday of Coming Back to Life
Hey,
for a moment. Okay.
I know that's right.
Um,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And in terms of any upcoming events, follow me at Rebeccah Silence on Instagram for more details. There are always healing hours with me. There are always events. Nothing right now that I can tell you is scheduled, but I do have a date that you can schedule with me. And as soon as you press play, you and I can meet and engage and have a blast. If you go to rebeccahsilence.com, I
Mhm.
have a free gift. It's my masterclass, The 3 Must Know Secrets to Heal and Save Your Family. If
Yeah.
you like conceptually what Sharice and I are talking about today with the book, absolutely buy yourself a copy. Get it in your heart immediately and in your home immediately. But you can sign up for my free masterclass, The 3 Must Know Secrets to Heal and Save Your Family, and work with me directly today. Just
Mhm.
go to rebeccahsilence.com, sign up for the masterclass. You'll get access immediately.
Mhm.
And you and I can have a date where I show you how to start breaking the cycles of
Mhm.
you being disempowered, exhausted, stressed, pressured, and
Mhm.
just feeling like, when is it going to be your turn? If
Right.
you're here with Teresa and I today, your turn is now. And it starts the second you break the silence. And my masterclass will give you an accessible way to start taking your power back, along with this beautiful book that has my story so you can connect to your story. And
Mhm.
then at the end of every chapter, I have exercises for you to take what I'm sending your heart as a message
Mhm.
into your life as your new baseline, your new, this is who I am and what I do, your new day-to-day experience. I'm giving you literally the roadmap. So the book is amazing, and then you and I can have a date in my masterclass anytime.
All right, Miss Rebecca, you go, girl. Hey, I got a master class. She got courses for you to take, and all right, that is how when you free your mind from all that clutter that was going around, and when you're in a situation of domestic violence, it gives you no time to think. It gives you no time to sit down and really have clarity moments because in the back of your mind you're so busy thinking, are we gonna have a fight today? Is he gonna punch me today? Am I gonna get slammed against the wall today? And we're so busy living in our minds in fear that we have no time to think about future endeavors. And I want to say congratulations on your 2 years, right? That get that two year anniversary of your book, and congratulations on the course you have created. You created something for women to come and sit and have a conversation, and there's no judgment zone. So I thank
Yeah.
you, Miss Rebecca. I thank you so much, and I want you to have a blessed day. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Sharice. Thank you, everyone. Let me just say one more thing. If
Yes.
you can survive survival, you can survive alignment. And the purpose of your life is to experience joy and to
Mhm.
get 100% of the love you want in a healthy, safe way. So
Yeah.
don't think you're asking for too much. get the most out of your life. And Sharice, thank you for your beautiful show. Thank you for having me. And thank you for honoring me in this book.
Oh, you're very welcome, darling. I greatly appreciate you being here. And I say, get it today. Get it today. Okay, get the book today. Don't sit and wait, mess around, shuck and jive. Go ahead and get your book today. Because when we read other people's stories, it frees us as well. If we haven't had time to tell our stories. And it frees your mind, it frees your heart, and and the rest will follow, right? So,
Mhm.
all right, everyone. I have had a marvelous time with Miss Rebeccah Silence, and I want you to go and get her book today. And it is, coming back to life. It is a masterpiece. And I want to say thank you, Miss Rebeccah, for coming and being on Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast. And I want everyone to go and get it today. I love you all, and we must say adieu, okay? All right, everybody have a blessed day. All right,
Bye.
babies. Talk to y'all later on Arthur's Excerpt Sunday.